This is the Criterion Creeps podcast, and tonight we're talking about Ugetsu from 1953, directed by Kenji Mizuguchi, and we are joined by Patreon guest co-host Dylan Frew. Hello, good sir.
Hello.
From under the sea.
That I was gonna say, is that Bane or is that SpongeBob?
Yeah, that would be Bane.
That's a little Bane. See, now for you YouTube folks, which Dylan.
I'm smoking by it.
See, I think this is one of those
about
rare.
The same level of comprehension.
Almost the same. This is one of those rare occurrences where, Dylan, you started out as a YouTube person, and I think sometimes you're like, what are they talking about? I don't understand. And now you're in on it. You're part of the joke.
Part of the problem.
Or part of the problem. Yeah. Who's to say?
Be part of the solution, buddy.
Right.
Which solution is that?
Talking about Japanese cinema.
Oof, I don't know about that, man.
So this movie's not good enough to have a tagline.
No?
So we're going to jump right to the synopsis.
Crucial.
In 16th century Japan, peasants Genjuro and Tobei sell their earthenware pots to a group of soldiers in a nearby village, in defiance of a local sage's warning against seeking to profit from warfare. Genjuro's pursuit of both riches and the mysterious Lady Wakasa, as well as Tobei's desire to become a samurai, run the risk of destroying both themselves and their wives, Miyagi and Oma.
They're going to destroy their wives?
They're going to destroy their wives' lives.
Oh, shit.
I love your readings of all the Japanese words, how they slowly become more hushed. So they go on, Tobei.
Tobei. Oma.
It's all the Japanese intonation I know is from Game Center CX. If anyone's ever watched that, excellent program.
Is that like Ninja Warrior?
Much like.
Or what was the goofy one?
The one where it's like they're blowing up like body doubles or like the body masses and hitting them with like maces.
Yeah, like the super goofy Japanese one that wasn't like actual like Ninja Warriors. Like people are actually in shape for this. Like the super goofy one. Which one was that?
I was thinking of a completely
Ultimate Ninja Warrior?
I was thinking of a completely different thing. I was thinking about the one show where they would do like Vikings versus ninjas or other warriors.
Oh, and my death battle thing or whatever.
I can't remember what it was called, but yeah, that was good times. Testing out these weapons they'd have and who was the most efficient at killing, and they were using science to determine it using metrics. You know. That's how you figure out what's good and bad and what's the best. Metrics.
What metric do you use?
It's not quantifiable. Sorry.
Really?
No. I'm about quality. Just like the Criterion Collection.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You hear about this?
I haven't.
So, first of all, this movie I watched about 5 years ago. I guess for the first time ever.
Okay.
How about you two? When was the first time you watched this movie?
I was at the original premiere.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm a big Ugetsu guy. I'm me and I don't know if you guys know Roosevelt, like Theodore.
Yeah.
Me and him were there, and me and Big Ted. Yeah, I call him Ted. I know a lot of people don't know him.
Did he ever show you his big stick?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had a stick, and he used it a lot, but he didn't really bring attention to it. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
like
exactly.
Yeah, it was just like, I have a stick.
There's some holes in your story, RJ, but go on.
No, I'm just saying, I was there. So
with the corpse of Franklin Roosevelt.
Well, I don't know I don't want to say what condition his life status was. That seems a little bit inappropriate.
Well, maybe it was a ghost.
Could have been.
Which would be fitting.
I mean, other than that, this is the first I've seen it. So, what about you, Dylan
I think I'm in a similar boat here. I think I watched...
This is the first time?
No. Not with you.
Since the original?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
think
Sorry. Continue.
I think I watched Ugetsu maybe 5 or 6 years ago. But I watched it on a YouTube rip. And now I have my great Criterion DVD here. There's this a Blu-ray. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
But big quality difference. And I'm here to help you.
Ooh, Japanese for
later.
everyone.
But let's just say I loved it the first time, and I did rewatch it this week.
Okay. We're going to find out if that love holds up. I guess.
We'll see.
Right?
We'll see.
So let's run it down. Feel free to interject as we go. These movies often open up with sort of menacing opening titles.
Yeah, actually, I was watching it in our shared common room here at like 11 at night because Jarrett told me I shouldn't sleep.
Yeah.
Well, that's bad advice.
So,
Or
so
great
I threw
advice.
this bad boy on,
Well.
and the volume's at 30 or something, and it's just going.
Okay, I'm glad that you brought that up because my review for this was gonna be so the first 5 minutes of this movie scared the shit out of my cat. So I sat down on my couch, my cat jumped right on me, and there's like, and my cat was like, her ears were straight up. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" She's like, "What are you watching?" But she was actual scared for like 5 minutes. So I just muted it until like the credits were done, and I turned it on.
That's
It was
exactly
still
what
going.
I did too.
And I went, oh, "Fuck!" I was like, "It's still going." But yeah, it's very abrasive.
Thank goodness for subtitles.
Yeah.
To culture you here, so the YouTube audience doesn't destroy your knowledge of Japan.
Yes.
You could say your neko. That's cat.
Oh yeah, so my neko was very scared from the music. That's also a Japanese accent.
Exactly.
Not appropriation. I'm just trying to be.
You're trying to naturalize.
I'm trying to naturalize a little bit, and it's tough. It's tough. But yeah, this music is in your face. It's right there. It's right there.
And your ears.
It's in your face. It's in your ears. Maybe it's even in some other places.
Yeah, I found it lying around after the credits were over.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
It's all over the place. So, again, this movie checks a lot of kind of these cliches of Japanese cinema, like particularly of this era. It's like miserable people, peasant folk or merchants. There's civil war always happening. There's often, I mean, it's like, well, of course, it's dramatic. You want to have a little bit of conflict in it, but it's like, these guys are going to be roaming around. You're going to be a lot of swords, some samurais, incoherent kind of style of acting. I feel sometimes when you're watching this, where it's just like, these like people why are they all so bad? Where are the nice people in this world? Like every time you meet like a guy, it's just like they're the worst guys. Like, oh no, he's gonna rape me, rob me, stab me. I don't know. It's not everyone's bad.
Everyone came from the Jackson Browne concert.
And they're like, we are gonna ruin as many people's nights as fucking possible, dumping ice on people.
Yeah.
Like sticking fingers in butt cracks, all sorts of bad stuff. Real bad stuff.
Yeah, stealing your Bane statue.
Mm-hmm.
If someone ever tried to get after my Bane statue, you'd have a lawsuit on your hands, pal. It'd be bad. I wouldn't do anything myself. I'm not strong enough, but I would definitely get the power of the law on my side.
Leave it be.
Yeah, just leave it be.
So we've got Genjuro and Tobei. Genjuro's a potter, and him and his, I'm learning, brother-in-law. They're gonna go to the nearby town and sell some wares. Tobei wants to be a samurai. That is his character depth. I think he's the.
That's about it.
That's about it. So
that's about it.
It's about all. So they hit the road, and then immediately Genjuro's back, and he's like, "Look at the money I got," and you're like, "Huh?" He's like, "Oh, where's Tobei?" It's like, "Oh, he followed some samurai."
This was kind of shocking because, like it's been 5 or 6 years or something, and so I have a vague recollection of everything that happened. But him just coming back immediately,
Yeah,
I was lost.
I loved that. I loved that it was just like, he's back. There's no need to dwell on it. He's here, and I went, nice, thank you.
but it's strange, right? Like from like a story.
Yes, yeah.
It's just the way it's set up. It's like, okay, if you wanted to communicate that, you could have done that differently. You don't even need to see him leaving. You just have him coming back.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so obviously he gets the money in hand. He's like, look at all this money we're going to make. This is going to be amazing. So he starts busting his ass, and he's got to make more and more. He's starting to put it out there to other merchants so they can take it, and he'll take a cut. And he's like, we've got to do this. We're making money left and right, but war's on the horizon. Skirmishes are coming, and is it Shibata Katsui?
Sure it is.
Sure it is.
That was a good one.
I know Shibata because that's also a name of a pro wrestler that I'm quite fond of. So
and a dog, I think. There's a dog called Shibata as well.
Shibata. I can hear the crowd cheering his name.
For the dog, right?
For the dog. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So yeah, the army comes. They kind of break up the party, but it's like, no, I gotta keep this pottery going. then they flee, and they do manage to make their way back to the village. And they're like, hey, look, it finished. We're doing great here. To kind of avoid conflict, they go get themselves a boat. They ship out. We get some sets, some good old timey fake boat sets, and they come across a man who had been attacked by pirates.
Yep.
Damn pirates! They lay a beating into him, and tells his story, and he dies. So
after he drinks some of their precious water.
Ah, what a guy! What was he? So inconsiderate.
Well, water's a valuable resource. That's it. That's all I have to offer.
It's funny enough, that's exactly what they say on the commentary track. That's actually the only thing they say.
Water's a valuable resource.
They just blurt it out.
Yeah, who's on here? Who's on here?
This could be worth more than gold, Jared.
Yeah, Tony Ryans. That's all he says on this commentary track.
There's a water.
Well, it's like it's very. There'll be some other things, I bet, that RJ will be referencing. Bill's like intermittent. Like you forgot that he was there. That's not he just says something. Everyone goes, very
RJ
uncomfortably looking.
I know he listened to the commentary track, so I'm sure we'll hear some more from that.
I mean that, as you said, that is the only comment, but it's a good one.
Right.
So seeing trouble brewing, Genjuro's like, oh, this is too risky to bring the wife along, my son, so I'm gonna dump you here on the shore. See you later. Lay low, hey.
Where do you take your wife when you go? Like for me, Andrea, if I gotta go to the store or whatever, I leave her out in the hills. I just say, listen, baby, it's too dangerous to be left at home. It's too dangerous to come with me. I'm leaving the coolies a little bit. That's a Creepsville thing. I say, leaving the coolies, I'll come get you in like 2 hours.
Give her a big jug of water and tell her how important it is.
It's a valuable resource. Why wouldn't she need it?
You heard about it once on the commentary track.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I'm not gonna like try to break the wheel here. Like if it works, don't. What's that expression? Squeaky wheel gets the grease. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So Genjuro makes his way back to market, and his pottery, it's selling. He's making him and Tobei are making money. Tobei moved by how much money there is. He's like, I'm gonna go buy some armor because way back when I got like tossed around by real guys pretending to be samurais in an army, and they were like laughing at me because I had no armor. I didn't have like a weapon. I was just like a piece of shit. But now I can buy my way into some respect. And he just takes off. He just takes this money. What an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, I know dudes who do things that are similar.
Mm-hmm. Like
Bad
podcasting.
Yeah, you know Tobeis.
Yeah, I know some Tobeis. I know some bad bays, and I know some bay bays.
Yeah.
Maybe some foot bays.
Well, yeah, I stay away from the foot bays. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of the foot bays.
And
what are we talking about?
well, I was just about to say, so while that's going down, Tobei's wife, Ohama, she gets raped by some soldiers.
Yeah.
Well, it is a Criterion film.
Yeah,
so.
and usually it seems like guests appear whenever it's like whenever this happens. They're like curious.
There's a connection there, but I won't highlight it.
Yeah, well, let the audience decide.
There's a word that I could use here, but I'll choose not to at this point.
Yeah.
Just for now.
So Genjuro is kind of like he's on his own now, selling his goods, and then this old woman and this noble woman approach him, and they're like, "We really like the cut of your jib. You should run that up to the mansion, and we'll buy it then." He's like, "Okay, well, great. It's like a big order. I love money." So, he does just that.
Mm-hmm. He does that.
And you find up there, Jarrett?
It's a nice layout, nice little pad that she's got up there, and he gets sucked into spoilers, people, like ghost succubus land. Well,
I mean, you don't find that out for a bit, right? It takes a while to get there.
It takes.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, it's so when rewatching this, I don't know. It was so clear in my head that that's like the goal of it, because this movie also, its reputation for me is that this was a horror movie, and so when I watched this I was kind of like, this is definitely not a horror movie. Who claimed that? Just because it has ghosts.
Well, because a lot of people, and I've read this over the years about Ugetsu, they claim it's the forerunner to all these Japanese ghost stories, things like Kuroneko or Onibaba or Jikoku.
Pulse.
Even Pulse and Ringu.
Ringu.
Yeah.
So before we get Sixth Sense, before we get the Sixth Sense, like there's a whole story of like what happened to the manor, and all these people except for her and her servant were killed. That her father is like a ghost, and yes. So Genjuro gets sucked in by this. He's like, well, you gotta marry her, and he's like, well, okay. And then they bang off camera, and he's like, I've never known such pleasures. As he's in the fields.
I really thought he meant the pleasure of having a companion. I didn't think there was anything sexual in nature here. Is that just me?
No, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. The companionship is a powerful thing.
You innocent people.
Yeah, I don't know what naked means. I don't like it though.
I know. But this is just like team anti-sex. They don't like seeing sex in their movies.
Yeah. Well, it's a little ominous when your Criterion DVD says Mike Lee's naked. Why is he naked? Who's Mike Lee? What's going on?
I mean, I agree with you 100%, Don. The other thing I'd like to emphasize is, Jarrett, do you think that someone who owns something like this is into naked bodies?
As he gestures to Bane off camera.
You think? You think someone like this has seen a naked person? No, not even myself.
Not even a little bit.
Never
nude.
Wear swim trunks in the shower.
Oh yeah, they never come off. I've never get a little chlorine bath once in a while. I'm good.
So everything's going great unless you're married to one of these guys.
Yeah.
So we see the kind of vague fate of Genjuro's wife, who is kind of mobbed by like 3 very desperate soldiers who are like they don't even have time to rape anymore. They're just hungry.
Yeah, they stab her more or less on accident.
And it's one of those like blink and you miss it 1953 stabbings.
Yes, it is. Because they just want her food that she has for her child.
Yeah.
It's a spear stab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Grim stuff. Grim stuff. So then we have like the B plot of Tobei, who's like having success with stealing the head of a dead person.
Yeah, taking
credits, and so he's rising in the ranks for his actions, and you're just kind of like, I guess this is interesting.
I think so.
Okay.
I was Milo a minute at this point. I was dialed in like this.
But you had to turn the volume down to 0 so your face was an inch from the screen.
Yeah.
Just right there. Right there.
So, but of course he's like, he's found great success, and he's going to go tell his wife about it. But he's going to stop by a brothel. He finds out she's working there.
Wow.
Yeah, she is.
Troubling.
Oh man, this is what look at these men have done.
I mean, do men do anything but destroy, Jarrett? I don't think so. Not on my watch.
So we cut back to Genjuro, who we meet a priest that I think it's actually interesting that you pretty well know he's a priest immediately, even though there's no way you could really know that. Just the way it's framed and shot, there's just something that makes you go, "This guy's got a little bit of stature." Seems like seems like a good guy.
It starts on his hat.
Yes.
That looks like 2 scrolls, and it kind of pulls back, and he's got the sage beard and a large walking stick.
Yeah, you
they
know
call that the Teddy.
Yeah, I'm sure that
the old Teddy.
If one had the cultural capital, you would like know exactly what this was. But I think it's some nice filmmaking, or maybe just a good performance where you're just like, I know what this guy's story is. I get this. And then he starts talking and it unpacks it all. Where you're like, oh man, this guy's a priest. And he's going to be telling you about like, oh, where are you staying, dude? Uh-oh. That's where the ghosts are. And back then, people were just like, oh yeah, you got ghosts.
Yeah, you got ghosted. You got the vanishing.
I love that. Yeah, you got vanished and you got straw dogged on this one. I love that. Oh shit, you're up there, dude. That place is fucking filled with ghosts. You didn't know? Shit.
Call that Ugetsu.
I wish more movies had that. I was like, man, there's ghosts up there. You didn't know?
And then
it's like real casual. Yeah.
And then, guys, we get a little bit of Qui-Donning here.
Ooh,
we get some of those that body paint, that Buddhist symbols to like to keep those ghosts out. It's like, why have you done this?
Yeah, we all participate in Sanskrit writing to keep Qui-Gon away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it is quite long. We don't want to deal with it.
Nope, nobody wants anything to do with that.
Getsu, 90 minutes, not quite long at all.
Quite short.
Quite short. Which is quite nice. Not to play my hand, but
So we get kind of an exchange. We get I guess, kind of an exorcism. And then he wakes up.
Yeah.
The manor's gone. And it's like, oh, it was all inside his head, or was it ghosts?
Ghosts.
Spooky. And yeah, so eventually he's going to make his way back home after all this time. How long was he gone? Days, hours.
Quite long.
It's ghosts.
Quite long.
It's ghosts.
What else happened there, Jarrett?
He gets shaken down by some soldiers. and he heads
dead.
back. He heads back home. It's time to find my wife. And of course, he finds her, and they have like a kind of a reunion. Their son is there, and he's just like ready to pass out, and she's kind of like left, kind of watching over him. And then he wakes up. His son's still there. One of the locals from the village shows up, and they're like, "Hey, you're back! Oh, your son's here! Thank goodness!" And then you find out, oh shit, his wife was a ghost.
Yeah, he got Ugetsu twice.
Yeah,
You sure did.
In one day.
Double Sixth Sense.
I mean, who hasn't? You know.
But he's not Bruce Willis. Everyone else is a ghost. Or is he? Or maybe he's a ghost too. I don't know.
It's true.
Aren't we all ghosts? Aren't we all ghosts just walking through this mortal coil?
Aren't we all emotional ghosts, Jarrett? You know what I mean?
Is
deep down,
is water? What about water, RJ?
It's a valuable resource. I don't know why it's comical to you boys, but water is a valuable resource.
Japan is surrounded by water.
It's not drinkable.
All those islands.
Water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. You ever heard of that?
You could drink Japan.
Well, it's the salt. Salt is what's going to get you.
I know you sound like Steve Broyle or Steve Brule.
Sounds like you're about to go back into your chocolate bar speech.
Oh, too many chocolate bars? Well, no, that's a whole different ball game. There's too much salt in that water. You can't drink it. Water everywhere. Not a drop to drink, you guys. Not a drop. Can't even cultivate with that water. It's too salty.
It's true.
It's too salty. Pizza pie. Yeah.
So what the end of the movie wraps up, and Tobey has to use up all his money to buy his wife's honor back. And they're like, "Man, we made some mistakes along the way, didn't we, buddy?" He's like, "Sure did. Let's get back to work."
Yeah, and there's a famous closing line where one of them says, maybe Ugetsu was just the friends we made along the way.
That's right.
Wow.
The ghost friends.
Ghost friends.
Is that you think the first instance of this?
Probably, yeah.
Maybe the resource was water that we made along the way. Do you know what I mean?
That is how Tony Raines closes the track, actually.
There's a better way to put that, but you know what I mean. You guys got it.
Okay.
You guys got it.
So that all being said, my thoughts on this movie. When I watched this 5 years ago, it looks like I gave it 3 stars. I thought it was fine. I thought it was just a fine movie. It's kind of it didn't really leave much of an impression. And I honestly didn't really remember that much about it. And I knew it was coming up again, and I was like, okay, well, we'll see how this goes. I've only actually seen one of Mizuguchi's movies other than this, Sancho the Bailiff.
Sancho, yeah.
Yes, I've seen that, and I liked that one more based on what I wrote when I watched it 6 years ago. I think there was a bit more of the just the unrelenting life sucks then you die vibe.
Yes.
This one's a little bit more, in theory, more uplifting, I suppose. But on rewatch, I feel kind of the exact same way. I am definitely, though. It turns out I was looking at my Letterboxd friends in my network. I'm a minority view on thinking that this movie is okay. But we can talk about that more as I hand it off to you, gents, particularly Dylan, since this movie moved you to join us to discuss it.
Yes.
And you are, at least on your first viewing anyway, a big fan, a big Ugetsu boy. So,
some might say.
So yeah, I don't know. Convince me, because I don't know. This movie clearly, I mean, it's not your job to convince me, but people love it. they're super into it. I watched this and I'm kind of like, this story is super simple, and I feel like filmmaking has come a long way from this since then. And I think there's even more interesting examples in Japan in 1953. Just pulling that out of my ass. I have no evidence to support that.
Out of where?
That I would like.
Yeah, where
definitely,
are your citations?
Where's my sources?
Uh-huh.
I'll work on that as you tell me, Dylan or RJ. But Dylan, we know that RJ does not like to go first or second.
Well, no.
It's true.
Yeah.
I try not to.
Yeah. He can be swayed, and then if I'm man on a movie and someone else is strong on it, he'll be like, I'm somewhere in between. Right?
Yeah.
Well,
Always.
I just like to, especially when people make the effort and the time to come on here, because we are cursed by the time constraints of this, but you guys aren't. So when you guys make the time to come on here, I want you guys to go first. You guys get everything you want out there. Maybe I'll talk, maybe not. People would probably prefer if I don't. So yeah,
Shut up.
D-Dog, why don't you hit it? Tell us what you feel.
D-Dog.
Oh.
Like,
it's like a stuttering
dog.
The dog.
The dog. I like it.
Yeah, I was pretty warm on this 5 or 6 years ago. Again, I watched it on a YouTube rip, so it was maybe 240 at the best. And as Sam mentioned, I'm a big Mizuguchi boy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll save that a bit though and give you some context. So, for once, the Criterion releases are good, and this has a big old book that comes with it. Because this story is based off of 3 different short stories, 2 by Ueda, and one by a French guy whose name is Guy Dumonceau.
Wow, RJ?
I have never heard a more present, accurate, and beautiful French accent in my entire life.
That came straight from Quebec.
Yeah,
so.
Quebec City. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I applaud you.
Thank you. It means a lot. So the first story is The House in the Thicket. And this one basically is about a guy who tells his wife, hey, I'm off to the cow piddle. I'll be back. Wait around for me. And then 7 years pass because there's a big war. And then he comes back. His wife's there. He's pretty happy. But then he got ugetsu'd.
Damn.
It turns out his wife isn't there. And that's the first one. And then
wow.
Okay.
Tell me about the lust of the white serpent.
Yeah, so A Serpent's Lust is the second one. And this is about a cool cat living in a small town.
I like that.
And one day he finds this high-class lady is hanging around. And so he tries to hit it off with her, gives her his umbrella and all that. And he heads over to get the umbrella back, the classic, as RJ might put it, incel move.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah. Accurate.
All I can hear is like Bobby Hill. Where's my umbrella? Where's my umbrella?
And then story short again, he also gets ugetsu'd. And it's a demon that needs to be exorcised. And this is where that I feel they dropped this point in the movie a little bit, because a big part of this is he gets. I read this yesterday and it's already gone, but he gets something. An item.
Ugetsu'd?
Yeah, he gets an item from this woman, and it was stolen from the shrine. And they say the same thing to Genjiro when they get him at the end. He took the sword from the shrine, even though the ghost gave it to him. That's where that comes from. Anyways, the last story by Guy Dumonceau. It's basically Tobei's story. He wants to be a general, real bad, And so his wife talks to some people, and he becomes a general. And that's it. That's all there is.
So, should we to the is it, Uda?
Ueda.
Akinari. Akinari. So, I guess it's a collection of 9 supernatural tales. Tales of moonlight and rain.
Tales of interest?
So yeah, they're all largely taken from traditional Japanese and Chinese ghost stories. The collection is among the most important works of Japanese fiction of the 18th century, the middle of the Edo period.
Yeah, and if you noticed, you very big Japanese scholars, the title of the movie is Ugetsu Monogatari, which means tales of rain and moon.
Yeah. Interesting.
The 9 stories are based on supernatural tales of the Ming Dynasty. Not to be confused with the Mingus Dynasty.
Bringing it full circle.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together.
It's so well scripted, this show.
Wow. Hey Dylan, do you speak Japanese? Because you got a pretty good accent.
Or have
you spent time?
I dabble.
Dabble? Okay. I just your French accent's
right.
pretty.
Yeah. Well, that's my
your Japanese one is subtle.
Yeah, just under the computer here is a book in Japanese.
Ooh. So, is that propping up your computer so it didn't overheat?
It is, yes.
Interesting. I know that trick. I got you.
It's an old one, yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
So, I'll go into it now. I think the VHS YouTube rip adds a lot to the atmosphere of the movie. And I think it does let it down watching it on a Criterion Blu-ray.
Oh no!
Which is an odd experience.
I've been there. Yeah.
That being said, I still really love this movie. I think it's very good. And I think it's deceptively simple, which is something a lot of Japanese art does a lot. We all know the haiku, very simple on the surface, but can cut you a little deep. I think that's the case with this, because a lot of criticism I've read is it's a super simple story. It's basically just saying, greed bad.
I mean, greed bad. Water good, greed bad.
Right. That's the only other comment on the track, actually. He just says greed bad.
Greed bad.
Greed. It's like, greed's bad. It ruins lives.
Greed bad.
Guys, greed is bad.
Yeah.
But I think it's about a lot more, actually.
You greed soon.
I'm going to use some far stretches, and we'll see if you agree or not.
Okay.
I think the big point is the price of dreams, or
ambition.
You dream so big that you miss what you have, and if your dreams come true, you'll lose the things you really wanted.
Like the Karate Kid.
Sense. Yeah, exactly. The great work, the Karate Kid. And then it's got a lot of war themes in it as well. Not super big, but they're here and there. Kind of just the effect of war on societal morality, if you will. And then it's got ghosts in it, so that's a big one. It's tough to put in words, because I was a little let down at first rewatching this. I went, this is not no.
Nah.
As time has passed, I've regained a bit of love for it. I also watched on this. There's a Mizuguchi documentary done by Kanedo Shindo, who did Onibaba and Kuroneko, and his actual good movie, The Naked Island.
As opposed to
the Clothed Island.
Oh, okay.
Mike Lee's The Naked Island.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
But yeah, so I'll give you some info from this doc, and then I'll talk some more.
Yeah.
If you can't tell, this is what I do a lot. I am a literature scholar, as they say. I break down the themes of things. I know it's a little less butts and farts, but maybe we can make it work.
Hey, I think people will appreciate that more than anything. I thought you were the harpsman, but yeah, you're the scholar. So
Yeah.
Hit it, Professor.
Yes, sir. This is my Zoom class, which I did have to teach one. But anyways, so apparently, I don't know how you boys probably know nothing about Mizuguchi.
He's an old pal of mine. You know, I call him at
Right,
home.
you were at his
Talk to him
premiere.
on weekends. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. He's okay. Jared, I don't know if you have any other opinions of said person.
I know he is a Japanese filmmaker, highly revered, and that's about the end of it for me.
Sure. Good
Yeah.
input.
So one of the big things people agree with as being permeating his work is this idea that women are mistreated in society, and often the actions of men or men in power will lead women down a path of self-destruction, if you will. He makes a lot of movies about geisha and about prostitutes and this field. But I don't trust directors. I think almost all directors are scumbags.
Yeah, just in the last week, in my real job, I guess, we had a person speaking, a Canadian man speaking about geishas, actually, and because he's put together an exhibition about it, and he talks at length, and he talked about, there's like the one very famous geisha that he does talk about, Ichinoku, I can't remember her name, but he referred to her a couple times as a work of art. She's a real work of art, and I'm always like, oh, it's like,
Yeah,
this is an old man weeb.
And I think people I don't want to interrupt you, RJ.
That's okay. Go ahead.
But I think people misconstrue the geisha as well, because there were prostitutes and then there were geisha.
Yeah.
And the geisha were trained in fine arts, and their job was to entertain men, not necessarily sleep with them.
Sounds like podcasting.
It is, yeah.
It's specifically Criterion podcasting. The job is to entertain men, not sleep with them. So all these emails we get that we can't read on air. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in there. Say listen, what's the dollar bill here? Send us some feet pics, and we say we're not there yet. Just maybe next week. Ask again.
That's the Arrow Video podcast.
Yeah, that's Jared and Sam's side deal. So, yeah. But
anyways, that's what people know Mizuguchi for. But in this documentary, it turns out, as one might expect, that it was more of a commercial decision, because the studio told him to make movies about women because his colleague at the time made movies about men. I don't know if there's more to it or not. A lot of sources say his sister was sold into kind of servitude at a young age or something along those lines. So maybe he does genuinely care. At this point, I don't trust directors anymore. He probably doesn't.
Which ones do you trust, if any?
I gotta think about that. I think as much as you like him or hate him, I think Andrei Tarkovsky was playing it straight.
He's definitely Russian.
I think Ozu was playing it straight too. He seems like just a cool guy.
So there's
He's definitely not Russian.
There's an example of a Japanese movie from 1953 that I think is better. I think, but these
one's from? Oh, is Tokyo Story 53?
Yeah.
I would agree that it's better.
But I mean, I think they're both held in the same regard. But I think Tokyo Story is quite a lot better.
Yeah, and the DVD for that, it looks like shit. I have the DVD. It looks so bad. That's a different thing though. But Mizuguchi apparently is considered the most Japanese director. Just his sentiments.
In what sense?
I couldn't tell you. This is what Shindo tells us.
Interesting.
These are just my notes.
Okay.
Yeah. He had a hatred for father figures.
Yeah.
Okay. He wanted to act, but he was bad at it, so they made him the assistant director. Apparently, studios at the time had a bunch of glass studios. Doesn't apply to anything. I just thought it was cool.
What do they mean by glass? Like literal glass?
Yeah, instead of wooden floors, they had glass floors.
Seems unnecessary, but okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was maybe cheaper at the time to do because they would have been rebuilding.
Yeah, and they were saying it was just to use natural light as opposed to having to light the scene. I don't know. Interesting.
That is actually... that is actually kind of interesting.
I'm a big
but you
fan of
you have way less control that way then too. Potentially, I guess you could always close the glass by doing it that way because there's certain times of day that you would because during the year your light would change as well. Interesting.
Yeah, and they were talking a lot about how times have changed as well because these days Mizuguchi is highly regarded. He's a big boy. But they were talking about how you'd make a movie back in the 20s in 7 days, and the cameraman would edit it, and you'd release it, and he was making all these kind of pulpy, whatever movies. It's kind of interesting. But he became a director after 2 years as an assistant. So maybe that's the glass. That's my point. They don't care. On the set of one of these films. Here's another reason don't trust directors. They said he loved spending time in brothels. That was one of his big hobbies.
Who hasn't? Not me, but who hasn't?
But on the set, directing one of these movies, Ichijo, who was a prostitute at the time, literally stabbed him in the back with a knife. And someone had to come finish the movie, and he didn't go out in public for 6 months.
That's kind of like us. We do the same thing.
Yeah, and
I mean, we're close.
I love how they framed it because in the documentary, one of these interviewees goes, "Yeah, and she stabbed him in the back." No, she stabbed him in the back with a knife.
Quite literally.
It's good. The Water Magician, which is from 1933, kind of marks this shift into reverence everyone has for him, where they go, "Oh, look at this run," even though he's making kind of pulpy trash before. And they said he was very Kubrick-esque, very hard to please, very perfectionist. There was a scene where one of the actresses was saying he had to change the button on her shirt because it didn't look good enough.
I mean, Jared does the same with me. He's like, put on clothes. Stop showing me your genitals. Just stop. And I'm like, come on. Nitpicking, whatever.
And then, kind of contradictory, the final note I took here before I got bored and turned off this 3-hour documentary was that he tended to write scripts as they went along. A lot of actors were saying he'd give them the script, and then the next day he would have entirely rewritten it and then been angry at them for not knowing the lines, which is a real director move, if you ask me.
Yeah, that seems a bit writing just as you go. I mean, we do this as we go, but
Oh no, this is heavily scripted.
This is heavily scripted, but only like 3 people listen, anyways.
Right.
So, and we're trying to get rid of them so that we can stop. But as long as there's 3, we'll keep going, I guess. For now.
But yeah, as a actual camera movement guy, he's got some big techniques that are well known. Also, he's known really well for long takes and for just immaculate camera movement. You see this if you watch 47 Ronin, which is about a 4-hour movie. But he moves the camera like crazy in that, and it's the 50s, and he's just going.
How's he doing it?
He goes.
Okay.
Nice.
Very good.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so there's your context. I guess I can move on then. So I think this is his best movie in my mind. This is the one I like the most. Sancho Dayu is really close. It's very good. And then Street of Shame, I think, is also very close. But this has ghosts, and guys get Ugetsu'd in this. So, I don't know. My thoughts are gone. RJ, take it away. I'll come back. Yes.
I mean, you kind of laid it out pretty good there. Jared, have you said what you think about this movie?
Yeah. I think it's just okay.
Okay.
If not even just like I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. It's a movie, but
I'll come back. I'll come back and try and convince you. Don't worry.
Yeah,
okay.
That's good.
I am very stubborn. But RJ, go.
He is a stubborn man. Stubborn, grumpy, and I'm not even gonna lie, a little bit naked of a man.
Yeah, well, it's because he's been Ugetsu'd so many times.
He's been a good
I don't trust anybody. I assume that every movie I watch is a ghost, and directors are ghosts and bad people.
Yeah. Bad ghosts.
Bad ghosts. Yeah. Where are the good ghosts?
Casper.
He's
a friendly.
He's friendly.
Friendly is good, no?
Well, he's friendly just to draw you in. Then what does he do?
Well, then you have to meet his the bigger ghosts. Remember, there's the one he's got the little
the Boo Brothers.
Yeah, he's got the bowler hat, and that's Scampy, somehow relation or whatever. I think he's got little freckles, and then there's the Boo Brothers. Yeah.
Which Boo brother are you? I like Stinky.
Take this poll to find out.
I like Stinky. Fatso's pretty good, and then what's the third one? Stretch. Stinky, Fatso, and Stretch. I think those are Casper's brothers, right?
I think so.
Okay. So, anyways, more about Casper. Did you know the original cast? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so other than the original theatrical run, this was a first time.
Probably great in theaters.
Okay,
not really.
So the 3 members, Frico, Miko, and Shriko.
That's what we said.
Of the Boo Brothers?
Yeah.
Not Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch?
No.
I don't know where you're getting your info, bud, but it's not accurate.
First you tell me Nelson Mandela died in prison, and now you're changing the Boo Brothers names.
This is just not good, you guys. Fatso, Stinky, and Stretch.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
That's it. So anyways, first time watch. And as usual, I don't look into a lot of things. I don't know a lot of stuff. So I didn't know anything about this. I went Ugetsu, Japanese. Okay, let's go. I didn't look into it any farther than that. And this thing started in some war-torn stuff, and people were moving around. And we get kind of bumbling dude. I want to be a samurai. And you go, this guy's not very good at it. No big deal. This other guy goes, I'm going to sell some pots. And you go, okay, bud, whatever you want to do. and things work out a little bit, and then things get a little bit grimmer, and then you go, oh shit, that's not good. And they go, oh yeah, we're trying to run away from our village. People are invading. And you go, oh yeah, that seems like what a war-torn state would be. Dudes were really worried about his kiln, and you go, maybe don't worry too much about that. Maybe get out of there, but whatever. They flee a little bit, and then you get that drop off on the lady, and it says, hey, you hang low, take care of the kid. We'll come back to get you. And then, there's a series of rapes. There's some killings.
The Criterion Collection, a continuing series of important rapes in contemporary films.
Exactly. Like they just need a rubber stamp. And I honest to God, like every Criterion film, you either get the stamp or not. A series of rapes, stamp, or not at all. Because I honestly, at this point, I think it'd be like 50-50. A series of rapes, stamp. Or not at all. Because, I mean, even look, in the last 5 movies we've watched, I think 3 of them have had rape in them. 3 out of the last 5. So,
and about 10% have prostitutes.
About 10% have prostitutes. I feel for them, though, they're just working like everyone else. So like, I get that. But there is a strong presence of that, and you're kind of like, oh, it's a weird thing to focus on, I guess. But the rapes is more problematic in my mind, and it's like, ew. A lot of sexual aggression here, boys.
I had totally forgotten that was in this movie. And when I
series of
rewatched
rapes.
it, I rewatched it and I went, oh, wow, this is a Criterion film, huh?
100%. It wouldn't be if there wasn't uncomfortable sexual aggression that is unwanted. Criterion. Brand of excellence, apparently. So anyways, we got all the rapes, and then we got a little boy a little dude, a guy. What am I talking about? Little dude. A guy makes pots. He gets courted by some kind of princess, and I was watching. I was like, this guy landed it big. Good for him. He got like he's like a TikTok star. He made it.
Mm-hmm.
He made it for his pots, and it's like they're telling him everything he wants to hear. We've never seen such beautiful pots in our life, such cups. And this guy's like, fuck. He was like, finally, someone appreciates my craftsmanship. And I was like, yep, good for him. We get a samurai guy, he's kind of dumb. But he lands into opportunity like a lot of people do. A lot of people, it's timing and circumstance. So sometimes people sneak in there. His life doesn't work out well. And then we get the other guy. And a little bit down the road, you go, oh, wait, is a ghost. And then he's like, oh, shit. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't look into this movie at all. I didn't know she was a ghost until it was, like, pretty clear that she was a ghost, if you know what I mean. Like, the setup to it, I was like, chick likes
what
pots.
gave it away? Was it when she said, I promise I'm not a ghost?
It was something along those lines. For a little bit, I was giving it credit. I was like, she just seems like an eccentric lady with a lot of money. Those people exist in the world even today. And then I don't even remember where it was. Like it was pretty far in. Like when he had all the stuff written on his body, I was like, I think we're dealing with a ghost here, boys. There was no one else in the room, but I think I said that out loud. I was like, I think we got a ghost on our hands here. And then it's made very clear that it is haunted village ghost stuff. And I was like, ooh. I was like, that's pretty cool. I liked that a little bit more. So I was a little slow to the take on that. Leading up to it, I was kind of like, this movie's good. It's kind of grim. I mean, not even grim. I was like, there's a lot of rape in this, which I don't care for. I was like, I see what they're doing here. And I did like kind of what you said, Dylan, about it's not just greed, but it's kind of like the squeaky wheel thing I was talking about. Careful what you wish for. This is a proto Wishmaster, which if people who listen to Ghoul School know, I like Wishmaster. I think that shit is real fun. So it's kind of like careful what you wish for. It's like, yeah, you are going to be rich and famous. Or not famous, but it's like you're going to sell those pots, brother. But you're going to get taken in by a ghost. That's the way it goes.
Or you get rich and famous, and then That's it.
Profit.
And then you're the ghost.
Then there is no ghosts. It's just I'm rich, and I don't care.
And then you
become a
can
director.
afford. Yeah, you be a director. You can afford all the water you want.
There's no moralizing for for us in the cheap seats. It's just you're just that's what it is.
Yeah,
which is far grimmer.
Which is grimmer. Yeah, that's a boring dystopia or whatever that Reddit is. But I do agree with you, Dylan. I actually like that a lot. Where it's kind of it is like people are so like driven by things that they think they want, and then they get them, and then it's just like, you didn't want this, you didn't actually want it, you didn't need it, and if anything, it's made things worse for you. And I think that's very real, because it's like, people like pursue jobs or houses or like relationships, and sometimes it's like you might think you want it, and in the moment you really do, and then later on you go, oh, I didn't actually want this, and that's a bad. I mean, it's life. It is what it is, right? It's life. So
to be a little intertextual, watching Naked After You Boys, there was a line from Sophie in that where she said, "What they love us for at first is what they hate about us later on."
I got a screenshot of that.
Yeah, it's right up there with "I hope I didn't give you AIDS" in terms of screenwriting.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, I was gonna do a butts and dumps kind of meme post with that on the Instagram, something along those lines. But that's a good one. So I do. That whole thing was to say I do agree with you on that. My bottom line on this is, I think it's good. I like it. I'm in between you guys. Like I'm kind of with Jarrett, where it's like I don't see the total appeal for it, but at the same time, I haven't been clued into this at all. I don't know if people like this or hate it. Sounds like it's
people really like this.
Yeah, that's what and it sounds like that. So it's like, I don't think it's like that kind of thing, but I do think it's good. So and I'm kind of with you. Like I like the points you've taken out of it. So I'm in the in between where there were points in this where I was watching, I was kind of like, and then there were other points where I was like, So I'm like
you're like that lady in the meme. He's like, whoa,
which one?
The blonde woman. Yeah, and then she's like, oh.
Which meme? There's too many memes.
The
fart one? Hard to say.
What's your favorite fart meme, Dylan?
Oh
Good
boy.
question.
I don't keep up with the meme culture.
It's a good question, though.
Much.
It's an important question.
How many fart memes are there?
I don't know, RJ.
Several. Let's say several to many. Several to many.
Oh, that's a tough question. I'm gonna divert it by talking more about Ugetsu.
Okay, hit it.
We'll allow it.
All right, thank you. So I'll try and convince Jarrett here with some textual evidence.
I like that.
There's a couple of scenes in this that just really, really work for me. The boat scene, as you mentioned, I think is perfect, and you got the haunting female vocals. They've filled this set with fog. Water is the most important resource, and they come across. It's a dark omen, very much. And I think they say that when they run into the guy who's been jumped by pirates. But it's just this really eerie, dark scene, and it kind of sets up the rest of the movie as having this ethereal, ghostly tone. But otherwise, I think this movie is really well directed, and there's I think a lot of other people have taken from it. There's that one scene. Oh, geez, I have so many things to say. I'm just gonna stumble through them. There's that one scene where Genjuro is at the cloth market, and he kind of fantasizes, and it starts on this silhouette of his wife, and it pulls back, and she puts on the cloth there. I think that sequence is fantastic. And equally so, I think it sets up Genjuro really well, because he's already being seduced by Lady Wakasa, but he's still thinking of his wife. He's still trying to use this ambition and greed to be better to his family, which is ultimately, that's his goal for his greed, right? And it's ultimately what he loses because of that greed. And that's just cool.
So I guess my thinking on that though is, so what is the alternative for him? So
Elaborate.
so if he doesn't make money doing his pottery thing, and he just like, well, I'm just going to, like, I don't know, what's his other option? He doesn't really have like a choice really, other than not to sell wares and make.
Well, he does, because this is based on the short story as well. There's a line when he says, "I'm a farmer, and just on the side I make pottery." Yeah, right. So he could just be a farmer.
I guess, but then get conscripted into the army.
Yes.
And get killed. I don't know. I don't see there's no struggle there, because it's kind of like, well, he just makes this choice and he's like, oh, these aren't that bad of choices though. These aren't unusual. I mean, probably the worst thing he does is he leaves his wife behind literally after he gets the bad omen. And I guess at that point he should have turned around, and in theory everything would have worked out fine. But I don't think that's that's kind of like this weird extrapolation, because it's like, well, or he just winds up getting killed by the army, because war is horrible. So it's like, okay, so then he was dead, which I guess, like, depending on your spiritual beliefs, it's like, well, it happens. Death's going to come to all of us, and you're like, okay. So I guess, like, everything that happens in the movie, it's like, well, it doesn't matter when it happens, but obviously there's the implications for the individual, if you believe in individuality, about like how to exist and live. And by the end of the movie, it's kind of like, yeah, my wife's dead, but that's how movies go. But she's got a nice little gravestone, and my son is gonna bring like a plate over to it as an offering. So I don't know. There's not enough of a. I want a little of a jazzier script, maybe, to hook me in more into the choices that the characters make, because it just seems like, because it's a short story and there is sort of an inevitability, I feel, to a lot of it, it doesn't really grab me dramatically.
Okay, I think that is a fair point. And then something I noticed is I was always really engaged. This never lost my attention, but I do think there is less drama than the version in my head had.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna keep going.
No.
RJ kind of mentioned this already, but I think the big reason he gets seduced by Lady Wakasa is not because she's noble and pretty, but because she's kind of the only person to acknowledge his skill as a potter, as Harry Potter.
Same book, same story.
Yeah, that's what this is based on, actually.
Yeah.
But I think, and I'm gonna go big brain here. I think that is a bit of a stand-in for Mizuguchi and the director in general, because, not to a huge extent, but to a little bit, this film is about the appreciation of art and how few people can appreciate something beautiful, and so many people just see it as useful or everyday, as opposed to really looking into the craftsmanship and the beauty in something. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's there.
It makes sense to me.
And then camera movement wise, again, there's the scene where they're in the baths, and I think this is a really famous shot where they're on the bath and the camera just kind of goes away. The unmotivated camera movement, as some might call it.
Some.
big friend Martin Scorsese uses it in Taxi Driver during the phone call.
Do you
Right.
think he ripped it off?
I think he's said many times that he's stolen from this, and then he went, the river.
Jean Renoir's The River?
Yes, yeah. He
The
went, Jean
river.
Renoir's The River.
More like
Wow.
Hacksazy.
Holy
Yeah.
cow.
Yeah, this isn't cinema. What are you talking about?
It's a ride.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, but there's also, it has a transition too, because it goes off the bass and then it fades into the little park scene that's on the cover here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. It's great camera movement. Very good. I'm all over the place.
That's good. Welcome to the Criterion Creeps, as we've said before.
I can see the mind rot spilling out of my ears.
Hey, that's better than butt rot, let me tell you.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys know what I mean? You know about butt rot, Jarrett?
I know I don't want it.
You don't want that. You don't want that. A lot of people have asked me, is it R-O-T rot or is it W-R-A-U-G-H-T rot? Very different.
Second.
Both very serious. But yeah, anyways, continue.
But then Tobe kind of goes on a very similar path, because we learn his aspirations to be a samurai and to have wealth are also to please Ohama, his wife. And then that kind of backfires on him. So it all kind of comes full circle here. It's got a big Mizuguchi idea of men and their ambition have societally oppressed women, I guess.
Good or bad?
No comment.
Okay. That's the right answer.
If Sam and Robert already know where I live, it's probably best if I just don't comment.
Some of them might even be there right now. And I don't want to scare you, but watch out.
I will keep my eyes peeled.
Yeah,
I'm already weary to not get ugetsu'd. It's happened a couple of times in the past. Maybe that's why I like this movie, is because I relate. I wake up in the morning and everyone's just a ghost.
Well, who isn't a ghost, metaphorically?
Right. It's a metaphor.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's all a metaphor for the metaphysical ghosts inside of all of us.
Oh, okay.
You see what I mean?
I think I can get behind that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have too many other thoughts. I'll read hold on. What does the back of the box say here?
Farts for everyone.
Oh.
I love these because they're moving between the terrestrial and the otherworldly. Ugetsu reveals essential truths about the ravages of war, the plight of woman, and the pride of men. I think they missed the big theme of this movie, but that's fine. Those ones are there too.
I'm always talking about the plight.
And RJ, I'm very glad of your Letterboxd review now.
What are you talking about?
He updated it.
He did.
That's been it since day one, bud. Since
Better,
day one.
Better check out what's going on here to stay updated.
Oh yeah, very active on the letterbox. You know what's crazy? I encountered, and I don't want to say where, nothing suspect, but I encountered a teenager who casually dropped a letterbox, and I went, you're on Letterboxd? And not in like a weird judgmental way. I was like, oh shit. I was like, you use Letterboxd? And they're like, yeah, are you on it? And I was like, nope. Nope. Not at all. And they're like, how do you know what it is? I was like, I heard about it from a friend. I am not on there. And they're like, can we search you? And I was like, nope. Not at all. I said, I used a fake name. Don't even try. Don't even try.
I'm not on there, but if I were, I used a fake name.
I used a fake name, yeah. Which is what we should have done from day one, but whatever.
Well, you've made big mistakes. That's fine.
Yeah. Doing the podcast in general is the biggest, but
that is the mistake.
Well, there is a Sarah Baylog.
I don't know her. Baylog apparently in Hungarian is as common as like Smith, like as a last name. So it's apparently a pretty common Hungarian last name. I don't know. I've never been there. I don't know.
But you've been hungry.
Well, hunger is a valuable resource.
Yeah.
Hungry. See what I'm saying?
I hear you. Do you guys want to hear about who hates?
Yeah, why not?
I would.
Of course you would.
I see a friend here. I see a fellow that crops up a lot.
That wasn't there when I looked up. Oh, there it is now. I see that it's been liked by RJ.
Well, I thought it was
Gary.
Fitting for
honorary Gary.
Mm-hmm.
Gary Collection, 1 star. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Finally, away from the goddamn French and the repulsive British, feudal Japan. What can go wrong? Well, John in charge a lot. Instead of a great story of the noble and courageous Japanese, we get a story with, wait for it, rape. Also leaving.
But it's literally one scene.
It is one.
I totally forgot it was in this, guys. It's not that big.
Well,
a deal.
Also leaving wives and kids, turning wives into whores, banging ghosts and just being bad dudes. Can we ever get another win in this collection? The Life Aquatic seems so long ago. Hashtag Dunk Boys Unite. Hashtag Creep This. Hashtag Screw You, John Criterion.
I'm on board with the Dunk Boys. I think that's something we should really try.
Yeah.
No, it's growing. That list is growing, though.
Do you think this Gary is Dysentery Gary from the famous Blink-182 song?
I love that song. It's real good. Real good. It's all Jared, it's all about like you know how like dating girls is tough, Jarrett?
Yeah.
And it's like, what if you didn't have to? What if they pick the wrong guy and it's a guy you know is bad?
Life just sucks.
Life just sucks. You know, Dysentery and Gary. Girls are tough, bud.
It's kind of like Ugetsu, actually. It's kind of the same thing.
It is. Those boys got Ugetsu'd.
Rich
Once in a while.
Pure Doom.
Okay.
1 star review. This is actually the second time I sat through this. For as much praise as Mizuguchi gets for his craftsmanship, it only truly impressed me in the story of the last Chrysanthemum?
Chrysanthemum?
Chrysanthemum? Yeah.
Chrysanthemum.
Yeah, the flower.
Yeah.
Yes.
His skill with crafting a compelling narrative or memorable characters absolutely dreadful. His characters are just pawns for his misery scenarios. You never learn anything about them outside of what is happening to them. And because of this, his films are essentially torture porn.
I will vaguely agree with this in saying, especially this one is a moral tale. Yep. And so the characters are much more archetypes or stand-ins. They are not fleshed out characters. Yeah. You are correct. But there's also a reason that they suffer in this way.
I mean, maybe. All I know... Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. We didn't talk about it too much. But the ending of this is pretty hopeful. You get kind of an uplifting narration that, he learned his lesson, but maybe a little too late. He's back to the man he should be, if you will.
It's the way she goes, Way of the road.
Sometimes she goes. Sometimes she doesn't go, Jared.
As Frank Sinatra said, that's life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what else is life? Rich Pure Doom. Here's someone from Arizona. Jared.
I see that.
I watch all kinds of films, any genre, any time period. This is a no bullshit account of what I see. So, Jared, I don't know if you know this, but they watch movies.
They got Dawn of the Dead up there.
They do. They have a lot of favorite films, but here's some half-star films. La Strada, Taste of Cherry, Amarcord, Flowers of St. Francis. I mean, there's other stuff in there too, but, kind of, I mean, I don't think any of those movies are half-star films. That's a little tough. It's a little rough. little tough and rough.
J.M. Hushur, 1 star. Christ, I'm definitely in a minority here. Possibility of 1, but I couldn't even make it through more than an hour of this meandering, wildly uninteresting film. I'll never be able to argue against the chronic fawners who consistently place this on lists of the best films ever made, so I won't bother. What they saw here of merit is beyond me, so maybe the burden of proof is on fans of the film. What I experienced was an excruciatingly dull and plodding story, little to no events of worth, a lot of hard pan scrabbling around in medieval Japan to no purpose, no emotional investment in any of the fools involved, and a wan, flaccid supernatural element that arrives far too late to amend what came before.
Flaccid?
Flaccid.
You know, I think it's flaccid. J.M. Hoosier.
Yeah, they've just they've given our good friend Denis Villeneuve and his great film, as they say, Arrival, 5 whole stars on a rewatch.
Here's another one. This person said they couldn't get through an hour, but you know what they gave 5 stars to?
What?
Qui-Gon.
Oh.
They also gave 5 stars to Redbeard, which is like another pretty boring Japanese movie. Like Qui-Gon and Redbeard are way, way more boring than this thing is. They half-starred Silo and Legend. Legend's not half-star. Legend's cool. Tim Curry's cool in that movie. It's kind of boring, but Tim Curry is cool. So you know, what are you gonna do? I don't know.
Maybe those 5 stars for Arrival are all for Jeremy Renner.
There's a lot of Ren heads out there.
Some Ren boys.
Oh yeah.
You want to make a baby?
Excuse me?
That's just my favorite Jeremy Renner line from Arrival.
No.
Top 10 quotes from Arrival.
From a Denis Villeneuve movie. You want to make a baby? I could be paraphrasing there, but man, I don't think that had the intent that it was supposed to for me.
I'm going to flat out say no.
I think my favorite Villeneuve quote would be from 2049, where Ryan Gosling goes,
It's a pretty good one. Real good. Real good.
One more. Red Master. 1 star. Ooh. There will be blood for weebs.
I don't mind that. That's okay. I mean, one of their favorite films is Batman v Superman. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
But they also got The Irishman.
Well, they like hands.
They're big into hands, especially hand-based posters of things. What do we got in half stars here? Marvel stuff. A lot of Noah Baumbach movies they've given half a star.
They've half-starred Marriage Story.
Yeah,
kind of a bold option.
Half stars to every S. Craig Zoller film, which that seems like a hit on their part. They just don't like his politics, which is like, yes, I agree. But I like his movies, though. You know what I mean? Half star to Goodfellas. Half star to Clockwork Orange. Half star to Django. Half star to Scott Pilgrim. Half star to Interstellar. What are you doing here? Red Master. Half star to Darjeeling and Pulp Fiction. Half star to Green Book. Jarrett's confirmed favorite film. Very strange.
Academy Award winner, Green Book.
What else is there to say? It won an award. Awards mean everything.
I don't like Nazis, okay? Leave me alone.
So you love Green Book? There's no Nazis in Green Book. Not really.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Green Room.
Green Book.
Oh.
Your favorite film.
Oh.
Not the one with Picard.
The one with this. The one where they eat all the hot dogs. Remember? Remember when Vigo eats all the hot dogs?
It's all coming back to me.
Remember the hot dogs?
That's right.
Oh.
I got some final thoughts for you boys.
Ooh.
It just came back to me. So Ugetsu is really renowned. I think BFI's Sight and Sound poll, the latest one, pushes it at 53 or maybe something like that. It's really high up there.
53 points out of 10.
53 out of best movies ever, according to a bunch of people you shouldn't listen to.
Best movies ever is Sister Act on that list, or is it a real list? I should say.
Sister Act 2 is actually the third film on there.
Okay, so it's a real list.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, it's
that's
legit.
Yeah. Your favorite boy, Andrei Tarkovsky, I know threw this in his top 10 because he would. So yeah, people like this. I like this.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Nice.
And
It's
nothing.
good to see RG. You know, got something out of it.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Well, water. What else is there to say?
He's very thirsty.
Who's not thirsty? Look, you see this, Jarrett? You know what this is? It's a valuable resource.
what's
Can you ever not drink water? We're always thirsty.
It's greasy.
Oh, sir. Our bodies are made out of water, so like.
That's a greasy vase.
That is a greasy
That it
vase.
is.
I have a nephew who's 18, and one time he had a buddy at like a family thing or whatever, and he's like, "I don't drink water, can't drink it. I'll drink if I drink it, I'll throw up." And I was like, "Shut up." I was like, "You need water to live." He's like, "I can't drink it, I'll throw up." And I was like, "I don't care, dude." I was like, "You're not impressing anybody. Get out of here."
One of my old chiropractors never drank water. She would only drink orange juice.
That sounds like a chiropractor.
Yeah.
Well, there's oranges in it.
There's water in it. It's fine, you know. It tastes better.
It's like people. It's like, well, there's water in pop. And he's like, there was water in pop. It's not water anymore.
Water's so good. What's wrong with these fuckers?
People don't drink water. People just drink sodas.
Some.
Yeah, some people.
I got my water. How do you think I did such a tremendous Bane impression?
From water?
Yeah. You gotta hydrate.
This. No one can see that at home, but it was hilarious. Clearly,
We all laughed.
He held up his
everybody had a good
pants.
time. Everybody.
Can we get a the shadows betray you because they belong to me, Dylan?
All right. Hold on.
No.
The shadows betray you because they belong to me.
After
very
the
good.
break,
good.
we're going to wish that
We're
Bane.
gonna get to ourselves.
I liked it. It was pretty good.
Bane is a ghost.